Hi, in this video, I will share with you four simple steps that I use to effectively handle conflicts and negotiate conflicts to resolution. What is a conflict? Conflict is a disagreement between two entities. Those two entities could be two people, two companies, two teams, two countries. It could be any two entities that disagree on how they should be doing a certain thing. It could be how, it could be what, it could be prioritization conflict, it could be conflicts around what is what is to be done, how it's to be done, right? So as long as when you have two smart people in the room or two smart entities, there is bound to be conflicts because there are more than one ways of doing a certain thing. I think in this world, at this time of age, we should embrace conflicts and have steps to thrive in situations where there are conflicts, and we should learn how to effectively handle them. There are certain things that we should not do, which I think a lot of people do. And I have personally done this in the very beginning of my professional career. I used to stress out when there was a conflict between how I felt certain things need to be done and how the other person, my senior, my boss, or anyone felt certain things need to be done. I used to stress out. I used to be silent certain times. Sometimes I used to feel angry within, sometimes the anger came out, sometimes shouting, sometimes backstabbing happens, gossiping, right? There are various things different people do. I think that's not what we should do. We should agree that in this world right now, there's bound to be various ways of doing things, and as long as we want to work with creative people, there's bound to be conflicts. So we should embrace them and come out of it. So I've come up with four steps to handle conflicts effectively. Step one is where we truly try to understand each other. Step two is we confirm that there is a disagreement. Step three is we try to negotiate a middle ground. And step four is when we try to escalate if in a clean manner if we still cannot negotiate. So let's go through the steps. First step is to really, really understand each other. Actively listen when you ask for the other person's views, their opinions, their interest, or their perspectives. Try to understand, putting yourself in their shoes to understand their ideas. What is their motivation? Why are they disagreeing to you? Also, express your ideas after you've fully understood and listened to their ideas. Most of the conflicts can be resolved by truly understanding each other. But let's say you try to understand each other fully and you still cannot resolve conflicts, you go to step two. You confirm that there's a disagreement. Certain times it might be that your perception of what the other person is thinking might be false. So you confirm that there's truly a disagreement. And you try to understand, why is there a disagreement? Is it more a personal disagreement? The other person just doesn't want to do it? Or is it more technical, where you have thought through the pros and cons of doing certain things? It could also be ethical. The other person might not be ethical in their behavior, or their stand might not be ethical to you. And then try to truly understand, why are they, after understanding that they are not doing the right ethical thing, why are they still not willing to change? What is stopping them? So try to truly understand what is stopping them to agree with a higher moral ground solution. And if they still disagree and they want to do certain things unethically, then you share with them the consequences. Like, the law might punish them. There could be situations where there could be a big consequence when you disagree on certain things. So you confirm that there's a disagreement. And most of the times when you try to confirm, some of the conflicts maybe still be solved, because it might just be that your perception was that they are trying to do this, but in reality it's not the case. So if you've tried to understand them and you've confirmed that there's a disagreement, then you try to brainstorm. You go to step three, to negotiate. You brainstorm some creative ideas that both of you have not proposed so far, that works for both of you. It's middle ground, that new ideas that work for both of you. This practice of brainstorming together helps save a lot of time and energy in the future. It also helps build better relationships with one another. You are both working together towards solving the problem and trying to come up with an alternate idea. Majority of the conflicts can be solved by negotiation. But when you try to negotiate, be very clear. What is not negotiable to you? There are certain ethics, certain values that you might stand by that are not negotiable to you. There might be a certain price point below which you would never sell your products. So you should definitely know when you go into the negotiation step that what is not negotiable, where is the line for you? When would you walk out? What are the alternatives if you want to walk out? Are you ready to walk out? So go into negotiation only when you know clearly what is the line, that you are trying to go with the attitude of coming up with a creative solution, but also that you're willing to walk out if certain line is not met, right? So with these three steps, 99% of conflicts can be resolved. But let's say even now you understood the other person, you confirmed uh, that there's a disagreement, that it's actual disagreement, then you try to negotiate, you still couldn't come up with a middle ground or a creative idea even after brainstorming. Then you do the final step. You cleanly escalate. You go to a higher authority. Let's say if the two colleagues are disagreeing, then they agree that together they would go and talk to their supervisor. It could also be that there is no higher authority, it's an independent project. At that point you agree to, maybe you your negotiation fails and you come out of that project, right? But let's say you could use law here for cleanly escalating to a higher authority or to a neutral mediator. Both of you present each other's case to the mediator, the pros and cons of each of these, and the supervisor or the mediator would have more information that would inform and advise what is the best path to take forward. So that's how you cleanly escalate, not breaking any relationships with the other person. That's why you go together, right? And you try to get advice for what steps to follow. So that's the 4 step process. Step one, try to understand each other. Step two, confirm that there's truly a disagreement and it's not a false disagreement. Three, try to negotiate, come up with ideas and creative ways of solving it. Fourth is cleanly escalate with the other person to a higher authority to get an advice on what steps to take next. So hopefully these 4 simple steps would be very useful for handling conflicts effectively. And by this, we would thrive in conflicts and work towards better solution. Thanks.